So the second kind of refuge that I want to talk about is, we can say, self-power refuge. Self-power refuge is when a person, by their own conviction, by their own intention, relying upon their own strength, as it were, decides, I am going to take refuge, I am going to set out upon the spiritual path, I am going, and implicitly there is there, I am going one day to be a Buddha, I am determined, I am setting out, this is me setting forth on the path. So this is what we call self-power refuge. In a sense, self-power refuge in one sense is a kind of almost contradiction of terms, because to go for refuge is to rely upon something else. But at the same time, the person is, in making this sort of act, in their own intention and in their consciousness, they have a sense that they're doing it themselves, they're in control, and they're taking charge of their life. And so they're going forward in the spiritual path. And this is probably at least in some degree, this is the spirit in which most people probably in practice, empirically, do actually take refuge. They see it as a commitment, it comes from their own conviction, and they feel they have understood something, and that by taking refuge, this confirms it. It affirms what they believe in that way. It's an act of faith, but it's certainly an act of faith that comes from a personal intention. And this, in the parable that's given in the Lotus Sutra of the jewel, there is, when the man who has been in a drunken sleep and has had a jewel sewn into and hidden in his garment, when he gets up, he goes forth into the world and he makes a big effort to better himself. And he works very hard. And he does find it, the world to be full of obstacles and difficulties, and he is slaving away and trying his best to better himself. And this is the kind of self-power approach. It's very hard work, requires a lot of application, one meets with many obstacles. It's the path of training, of self-realization, you might say. It's, in a sense, it's like Gautama Buddha before his awakening experience, when he is doing all these ascetic practices, doing penances, doing one thing after another. Sometimes one is discouraged, sometimes one loses it and falls back into the latent refuge position. But essentially, it's a matter of making a self-effort, driving oneself forward upon the spiritual path, relying upon one's own conviction.